All right, let's get our croit manager set up. So we're going to use the croit installation document. This is going to have prerequisites and give us the commands that we need to run. So in this document, we have our compute requirements, what we need from an OS standpoint, including some recommendations, and the commands to get the Docker container up and running. So two simple Docker commands. This is the Linux server that we're going to be running our Docker container on. And this should only take a few moments to set up, so I'll run through the rest of the slide. So the croit container is a DHCP, NTP, and PXE server. The container handles PXE booting the node OSs and is the NTP server for those nodes. It also handles all of the Ceph configurations. No other DHCP should be on the same subnet as our quote-unquote croit subnet, which is what we will use for the DHCP as part of the PXE. And long term, we're going to add some functionality where we can actually take those images and boot directly from disk. But we'll have all of the same benefits of using an OS image, even though it will be sitting on the disk. Again, this manages the node OS and the Ceph configs, manages the networking of the nodes, and includes tagging, bonding, MTU, and it's all done from the GUI. Collects metrics for monitoring and alerting, and again, handles the total life cycle of your Ceph cluster. So that's the import, install, daily operations, and upgrades. So let's check out the web GUI. And this is going to be our initial network setup. So we're going to select the interface that we want for DHCP and PXE boot. This is a drop down. So if we have multiple NICs, we need to make sure that we are selecting the right NIC that is on the right VLAN. And we can configure multiple setups. So by default, we just have a generic type. This includes the croit network and the Ceph public network. This is fine for testing, but we don't really want this in production. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through more what a production setup would be. So we are going to configure this as croit. This second network we are going to use as our Ceph public network. So this is the network where clients will consume Ceph and the nodes will talk to each other from a Ceph standpoint. We do also have the Ceph backend, but it's no longer recommended as Ethernet speeds have greatly increased since the 2010s, and we don't really see a performance increase and just prefer the simplicity of one Ceph network. So for the croit network, we need to set a DHCP pool. And then we need for the Ceph public network, we need to configure its subnet and IP information. This is also where we want our default route to be. All right, and at this point, we can start to boot up the nodes themselves. So let me do that real quick. And here they come in. All right, so we have some additional configuration, and we will do that here. Let me go to the next slide.